Hi, my name is Anna and I'm a fourth-year student from Northern Virginia. I'm majoring in systems engineering and minoring in computer science.
Hi, my name is Jack Good and I'm a fourth year studying computer science.
What's up guys? Hey, my name is Quidjo. I'm a fourth year computer engineering student here at UVA.
Hi, my name is Sarabi Gadi. I'm a third year BME major with a minor in computer science.
My name is Isabella Posey. I'm a fourth year BME major.
Hi, I'm Chris Murdoch. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'm a third year mechanical engineering student.
Hi, my name is Vienna Donnelly and I'm a fourth year studying systems engineering and minoring in computer science.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm a fourth year systems engineer originally from Phoenix, Arizona.
Hi, my name is Devin Gardner. I'm a third year majoring in computer engineering from Herndon, Virginia.
The engineering school at UVA got its start over 180 years ago. It was first founded in 1836 as a civil engineering school, but since then it's grown to include 11 different majors for undergraduate students. Much of this expansion was due to Dean Thornton, for whom the building behind me is named. In the early 1900s, Dean Thornton laid the framework for the engineering school as we know it today. The engineering school at UVA has about 2,900 undergraduate students and about 1,100 graduate students. It's conveniently located near first-year dorms, across the street from the physics building, next to the chemistry building, and right across the bridge from Central Grounds. The Engineering Career Services offices are housed within Thornton A Wing. Engineering Career Services offers a wide variety of services to students, ranging from their first to their fourth year. Examples of their services include resume reviews, mock interviews, helping students choose their major or choose a career path, and also salary negotiations for students once they've accepted a job. I particularly like to utilize Engineering Career Services right before I attend one of our career fairs. I found it very helpful to attend a resume review session before going to a career fair, so that I'm confident about the resume that I give to recruiters. UVA is a target school for many different companies. The engineering school attracts plenty of engineering and technology companies to attend our career fairs, and the McIntyre School of Commerce attracts plenty of consulting and business and banking companies as well. UVA engineers successfully interview for a variety of these jobs, whether it be consulting or technology. I actually got my internship last summer by going to one of UVA's fall career fairs, where I met the company that I interned for. I then interviewed on grounds and accepted the position. On-grounds interviewing is another huge benefit of UVA Career Services. You don't even have to leave campus to interview for an internship or a full-time job. Even during this pandemic, our Engineering Career Services are still hard at work for students. We have an online career fair coming up this fall and plenty of other informal opportunities for students to meet employers.
Behind me, we have the NI Discovery Lab, which is a $1.4 million lab generously donated by National Instruments. This is a strictly teaching laboratory, which means you'll never see a professor in here doing research alone. It also implements a learn-by-doing approach to its teaching. Personally, I've taken a course in the electrical engineering department called Digital Logic Design, which uses this learn-by-doing approach. Honestly, it was really difficult, but those skills will prove valuable when I apply to full-time jobs or graduate school. Some cool projects students have implemented in this lab have been programming Roombas and designing auto Scrabble players. I'm currently standing in Darden Courtyard, or the social hub of the E-School. Some events that happen here are tailgates, club meetings, and just hanging out. On a nice day, you'll see students kicking around the soccer ball or throwing around the Frisbee. In the wintertime, students build snowmen. My favorite event that takes place here is something called Bagels on Engineers Way, which happens every other Monday when Engineering Student Council buys about 200 bagels from a Charlottesville favorite called Bodo's Bagels. It definitely brings the engineering school closer together when students pick up a bagel on their way to class and makes everyone's Monday just a little bit brighter. At this stop, we also like to talk about engineering extracurriculars. Professional societies have a huge presence on grounds, and there are a few for each major. Since I study computer science, I've joined ACM, or the Association for Computing Machinery. There are also Greek organizations on grounds specific to engineering. They're a mix of professional and social, and they are Trigon, AOE, and Theta Tau. Engineering minority groups also have a big presence on grounds. Some examples of these are the National Society of Black Engineers, the National Professional Society of Hispanic Engineers, and the Society of Women Engineers. One bad thing about UVA engineering is that engineers can only join engineering-specific clubs. Just kidding. Engineers are encouraged to join one of the hundreds of clubs on grounds. Some of my favorites are the Ceramics Club and the Road Cycling Club. The bottom line is, engineers have lives that aren't in the library 24/7.
At this stop, we're going to talk about 4 things. Our STS curriculum. STS stands for Science, Technology, and Society. Our capstone, our minors, and the Center for Diversity in Engineering. So here at UVA, we believe that our engineers should not just be technically savvy, but able to communicate the social and ethical implications of their work. So we do that through an STS curriculum of 4 classes. The first class we take is STS 1500, called Great Inventions, where we teach our students how to think about social and ethical issues by exploring all the different implications of society of different technologies, from the Shinbashira in Japan to the Model T here in the US. And we also teach you how to write a technical paper and a patent application to improve your speaking and writing skills. So the next course you take is a 2000 level course, and you have options here. You can take a course in data and diversity, entrepreneurship, or science and policy. Based off of your interest. I got to take a class in project management where I learned from a professor who had years of industry experience managing large software projects, and it really sparked an interest for project management for me. So in your final year, you take your last 2 STS classes. These are your thesis classes where you write your thesis. Every engineer who has graduated from UVA in almost the last 100 years has written a thesis that actually resides in Clark Library. So you can actually go there and read theses for almost 100 years worth of students here at UVA. So the thesis is usually done in partnership with your capstone. Every 4th year engineer does a capstone, and this varies from major to major, but the general take is you work with a group of students in your major in order to work on a project with the faculty and usually an external client, where you produce a project based off of what you've been learning in your 4 years at the university. So, for example, my older brother graduated from UVA a few years ago, and he worked with his computer engineering friends on a capstone that was a speech-to-braille machine. What you would do was speak into a computer, and then a device that they created would output the braille letters, almost like closed captioning, but for braille. So what he did was that for his capstone. And so for his thesis, what he did was analyze the social and ethical implications of it. He realized that there was a cost barrier for many visually impaired and blind individuals to learning braille. And so what his team did was look for cost-effective ways to use technologies that they had learned in order to build a machine that would lower the cost and increase the access for individuals who wanted to learn braille. And so that's just an example of a capstone done here at UVA. So next, we're going to talk about some of the amazing minor programs we have here in the engineering school. So first off, our engineers have access to one of the top 10 undergraduate business programs in the nation through our McIntyre School of Commerce, through a business minor here in the engineering school, where you get to take classes with some world-renowned professors at the Com School. So next, we're going to talk about our policy internship program, which is done in conjunction with MIT, where students take a class here on grounds that prepares them for an internship at Capitol Hill. Interestingly enough, a previous engineering school guide got to do this policy program where she got to brief Michelle Obama on women in STEM. So that was a really cool opportunity that she had through that policy program. In addition to that, we have a few more minor programs here in the engineering school. We have one in applied math, technology entrepreneurship, technology and the environment, and the history of science and technology. In addition to those, our engineering students are able to also minor and major in classes outside of the engineering, from economics to psychology as well in the School of Arts and Sciences. So behind me is actually the Center for Diversity in Engineering, the CDE. This is an amazing resource that supports students from underrepresented groups in engineering. The center provides a lot of different opportunities, resources, career development, and tools to equip students of different backgrounds to succeed here at UVA. The CDE also runs the Bridge program, which is an enrichment program that brings incoming first-year engineers here on grounds a few weeks early to begin their transition to college.
So right now we're in Rice Hall. This is the newest e-school building. It is LEED certified, and we kind of like to call it a living building because the way the building's designed, it measures all its energy output and also like water usage, and you can use the screens behind me to see what the quantitative values of this are. There's multiple floors within this building and a lot of areas for like group study work and things of that sort. There are also kitchens if you need to like heat up food and whatnot, and supposedly a shower in the basement. I've never found it, but I guess it's just kind of there. It's also home to Lacey Lab, which is our Intro to Engineering studio. So as a first year, you're going to be required to take some general engineering requirements. And first semester, you'll take Chem Lab, some sort of math class, STS or Humanities, and Intro to Engineering. Kind of as the name suggests, Intro to Engineering is basically your introduction into the different engineering majors here at the university. It's based mostly on what the background of your professor is, but occasionally you will get guest lecturers from different engineering backgrounds so that you get an exposure to other types of engineering as well. And your second semester, you will take physics, another math course, Intro to CS, and STS or Humanities, and a science elective. And a lot of these courses, if you come in with like completed math requirements or completed science requirements, you can always take the next level course or fill in another like elective space as your schedule permits. And one of the big things is that you don't really have to stress about choosing the classes that you want to take, because during your orientation during the summer, you're offered a bunch of different templates with all your classes laid out and the times and days. And you just have to choose a template and then change any classes, like level of classes that you might have to take for your first year. So it's a very non-stress environment. And as an engineering student, you will not only be living with engineering students in your first year dorms. They're all mixed, so you could interact with people from all the different types of schools here at the university. For your major, you do end up declaring that your spring semester of first year, but you don't really have to worry about that much as well, because your first year, you're just taking your general engineering requirements, and so you end up declaring in March. And if you do end up wanting to do a minor, it's a different process than the major, but that's usually declared your first or second year, but people also declare that as late as fourth year.
So we're standing in the Mech building right now, and one of the really cool things about this building is the flight simulator lab. I know when I came for high school visitation, this is one of the things that really grabbed my attention, and I wasn't really even that interested in pursuing either mechanical or aerospace engineering, but this flight simulator can actually be used to log hours towards a pilot's license, which is a really cool opportunity here. Additionally, at this stop, I also like to talk about class sizes and our commitment to really fostering smaller class sizes here in the E-School. Here in the Mech building, we have Mech 205, which is our largest lecture hall, and it actually houses about 150 students. So I know initially maybe 150 students may seem like a lot of students, but for a typical college level class, this is a pretty common number, and a lot of times it can be even higher than that. So I know for me in particular, I've only had 1 or 2 classes that's been this size, and I've started with classes 30 students or less as soon as I came here at UVA. So we really do emphasize those smaller class sizes here. As a student does progress through their major, class sizes do gradually get smaller. So by the time a student hits their 4th year and starts their capstone, student to faculty ratios can be 5 to 1 or even smaller than that, which is a really great opportunity to get to know faculty members. But overall here at UVA and in engineering, we really try to emphasize those smaller class sizes in order to build interactions with faculty and students. Additionally, I'm going to talk a little bit about study spaces. Each major here in UVA Engineering has their own study space and has that study space open for students to collaborate with others or just relax and talk and meet other people in their major.
Here we are at the Mechanical and Engineering building here on grounds. Here we have a ton of labs here at the entrance of the building. The first one we have is the Rolls-Royce lab. We refer to it as that because they are the ones that gave the lab to us, that founded its start. In there, it's all for 3D printing and projects. So mechanical and aerospace students could submit projects to be 3D printed in there with a professor, and the professor will take care of it and give the final results back. Some of the projects shown out front of the lab include a guitar that was 3D printed for the 175th anniversary here of the engineering school, and it was used to play the Good Old Song during the ceremony. Right next to it is a small jet engine that was entirely 3D printed. It's orange and white. It's all 3D printed except for the screws that hold it together. And then on the ceiling of the lab, there are drones hanging down, and those were the project of a professor whose research was in conjunction with the US military to create a more feasible way to make drones out in the field. Across from the 3D printing lab, we have the Mechatronics lab. The Mechatronics lab is every third year's dream to be in there. We have a class in there, it's called the Mechatronics lab, and it's supposed to be a bridge between mechanical, electrical, and computer science. There, us Mechies can learn what the other majors do, how all the engineerings kind of relate to each other. Around the walls of the lab, there are about 30 guitars, all of different shapes and sizes. There's one that looks like a calculator in there, one that looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. They look really cool because they're 3D printed, but a lot of work goes into them because they need to, first of all, design the shape, what they want it to look like, each student. And then they have to use a math software to create the correct frequencies based on the shapes, as well as the strings on the guitar. In there, you can also see a couple robots. There's one, like the signature robot that just stares at you when you look in, he greets you. And then there's a ton of other gadgets just lying around. It's a really cool and fun lab. The next part of the tour is the jet engine. So this jet engine is for the aerospace students to visualize what parts they may be making for their classes and to get a better understanding of how everything that they work on can get put together. And then the last part of the stop is the Gizmologist Club clock. So here at UVA we have a Gizmologist Club. They work to make innovative and kind of one-of-a-kind gadgets around grounds. So the clock was graciously gifted to us, and it's really cool. The whole thing spins as the time changes. And that club does show that here, even at UVA, during the free time, students like to create projects on their own, like kind of go far and beyond.
Now we're in Wilsdorf Hall, and I want to explain to you some of the opportunities for engineers to study abroad. We definitely want to stress that it is totally possible for engineer students to take a semester and study abroad in a different country. The Engineering Study Abroad office is extremely supportive of our engineering students and has multiple opportunities for students to study abroad. We offer programs for an entire semester, a J term during your winter break, and a May term after the spring semester. UVA offers direct credit programs in Argentina and Sweden for a J term and in Valencia for a full semester. The Engineering Study Abroad office also has an extensive list of transfer credit courses and programs that allow engineers to study abroad virtually anywhere. My second year, I took advantage of UVA's program in Valencia to study abroad for a semester, and it has been one of the most exciting and beneficial aspects of my 4 years at UVA. I had the opportunity to live with the host family, learn Spanish, which I had previously had no experience with, and also visit some of the most beautiful places I had ever seen.
So research is super available here at UVA's engineering school and super accessible. Professors have all different kinds of research going on in so many different fields for you to get involved in. There's a website listing a bunch of available positions in different labs around grounds and around the engineering school. However, if you have a specific professor or department that you're interested in, you can definitely just reach out to them independently as well. That is the thing though, you do need to be proactive when it comes to getting involved in research, and while that might seem intimidating even as like an underclassman, professors are so excited to get to know students that are engaged and excited to participate in their labs that they're always really welcoming to those who reach out. This means research is also available to people of all years and all majors. For example, I'm a systems engineer, and that usually is a less research heavy major, but I had a professor my second year who would talk about his research in class a lot, and I thought it was really interesting. And so I emailed him, ended up meeting him, and worked for him full-time last summer doing research in autonomous vehicles. By the end of the summer, I was actually published, and now my capstone is in autonomous vehicles, so it really had a great impact on my undergraduate career. Overall, about 60% of undergraduate engineering students participate in research. That number can vary a lot depending on the major. As I mentioned, some are more or less research focused. However, the point is, if you want to get involved in research, it's definitely an opportunity for you here at UVA.
So coming from Pennsylvania, I knew very little about UVA and was ultimately encouraged to apply by my career counselors. Once I was accepted to UVA and visited their days on the lawn, I really found that I had an affinity for the school and was very excited about starting my classes here. The main point about UVA that I was excited about was the ability to be within the engineering department and also have a greater liberal arts school at large to take classes in. Before my first year, I wasn't entirely sold on becoming an engineer, and having the rest of the university as a backdrop made me much more comfortable. After my first year, I loved my engineering classes and declared my major as systems, and have been extremely happy ever since.
When I was looking at colleges, I knew that I liked some aspects of small schools and then other aspects of larger schools. From the small schools, I liked the idea of a sense of community and the ability to really know my classmates and my professors. From the larger schools, I liked the name recognition and really well-known sports teams. I think that at UVA Engineering, I've been able to find the best of both worlds. The engineering school itself is smaller, but it's housed within the greater UVA community. Within UVA Engineering, I know plenty of students, many who I had classes with my very first semester, first year, and I still take classes with now. I'm able to form relationships with my professors and my teaching assistants. Yet, being a part of the greater UVA community means that I can attend all of our fantastic sports events and that my relatives know what school I'm talking about when I say the University of Virginia.
Growing up, I knew with a mom majoring in computer science and a dad who was an electrical engineer that I was always going to be a computer engineer, that it was just a question of what school I was going to go to. I toured a lot of engineering schools, and in high school I didn't really know what I wanted from a personal standpoint or in my career or in my life, really. But all that changed when I came to UVA for the first time. That feeling I had when I first stepped onto grounds was immaculate. It wasn't just the beautiful grounds or the amazing labs here. It was the kind people and that wonderful sense of community at the engineering school. You know, being at UVA was just such a different experience from other engineering schools because the students here truly felt like that they were constantly supporting me, and I felt like I could accomplish anything here with the power of both the faculty and the amazing students in the engineering community here. I feel so amazing knowing that any single day at UVA, I can always walk into the engineering study space, and I will always find a student or two that will want to talk to me about my day or give me advice on a project or just help me out with a class. The amount of support you get here from the students is just amazing. I cannot stress that enough. And it's not just the students either, it's really the faculty too. There's been days where I have walked into the Engineering Career Center totally unannounced, needing help with my resume, and they just dropped everything for me and made time for me. And that feeling of that support is just, you can't find that anywhere else. The people here truly want to see you succeed and thrive. And that's really what makes UVA a special community and what makes UVA engineering so special. The people here will help you get through the toughest times one day and then be your lab partners the next day. And that's truly unique.